This is absolutely extraordinary wine. It's really, really brilliant. It is of its type a classical European wine style, which everybody should know, and therefore the world of wine goes, yeah, put it in its box. Grand, like Bordeaux, like Burgundy, like Chianti or Brunello di Montalcino. This is Rioja. It's a Reserva Rioja. It's the biggest selling exported style of wine from Spain. Grand. So we kind of know what we're getting, but it's right at the top of the tree. It is one of the most famous and most iconic Riojas going, and it is absolutely delicious. So, no surprise. Why is it so good? Well, this is from a large winery called CVNE, or CVNE, Compañía Vinícola del Norte de España, a northern Spanish wine company. It's pretty cool. And when they had this monogram put out, it was CVNE, and CVNE in Spanish doesn't kind of work. So CVNE is how people read it and pronounced it ever since. It's grand. So at the end of the 19th century, when they started making wine, Rioja, for this company, with French winemakers who were travelling from phylloxera-ridden Bordeaux or Burgundy or the Rhone, and they were looking for a winery where they could, or wineries where they could plough their trade and pick bunches of grapes that weren't affected by this horrible little mite, which they brought with them inadvertently. Anyway, long story. So, since the end of the 19th century, big investment in the north of Spain, and this wine is made from this CVNE winery. But it doesn't say CVNE there, it says it there. But it's called Imperial, and it's not one of the CVNE wines because they realised that this wine was so good, they, even though they have a very large vineyard area, aren't able to make it every year to the same excellent standard. So what they do is they save the Imperial word just for amazing vintages, which is handy. So you know that when you see Imperial, it's always going to be dead good, and you won't see it all the time. So it's a double benefit of it. It is absolutely stunning. As I say, it's kind of a winery in a winery. It's not just the best wine they make. They make it in a special part of the winery. It's a separate unit that they have. So what do they do in the vintages that they're not making that stuff? They twiddle their thumbs. Well, kind of, but it is from the winery's team. So they have their own separate winery, which takes the best grapes from the vineyards, and they kind of know which vines are going to give them the best grapes anyway, year after year. So they have a fairly easy job of selecting, so long as the grapes are good enough. They get squished, they get turned into wine. It's almost entirely Tempranillo. There's a little bit of Mazuelo and Graciano, but not much. It's almost 100%, and it can be in some vintages 100% Tempranillo. And what they do then is they select the best fermenting vats. And even at this stage, they can say that's going into it, that's good. Because they vinify in separate parcels, they make the wine, and they pick that bunch of grapes and ferment it on its own. Pick that bunch of grapes, or in larger lots than one bunch of grapes. But as they're making the wine, they can assess whether it's good enough. And this stuff is that good. It's so intense and rich and powerful, yet it's not over the top. It's 14% alcohol. It could be 15 even. But it isn't, and it is rich and smooth, and it tastes of crushed dense strawberry jam compote and blackberry, and not really blackcurrant, but a little bit of plum and a little bit of vanilla and nutmeg spice, because they use American and French oak barrels, and it's stored for a minimum of a year in these, more likely to be 18 months on really good vintages, which is what the 17 is. And then it spends a minimum of a year in bottle settling down. And it is fined and filtered using a very, very, very gentle technique, very, very light gauze. They actually don't use a fining agent here. They do for the other wines where they use egg whites, but for Imperial they don't fine at all. So it's suitable for vegans, if they're concerned. But it is so tasty. I don't think that even vegans would. Well, sorry. It's very, very good. I really hope you like it, and it is an absolutely outstanding version of what Reserva Rioja can be. Come back for more.